What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside Hartford, Connecticut. And today we are returning to the NFL for a trade breakdown. And this one will be a little close to home for me as a Philadelphia Eagles fan as we discuss the Donovan McNabb trade, which occurred on April 4th, 2010. I remember I had just gotten an autographed helmet from the 2009 NFL Eagles team, and it had been signed in December of 2009. So it was one of the last things McNabb signed as a member of an Eagles. Just a very interesting thing, little tidbit of knowledge. Someday I'll show you guys my memorabilia collection. But McNabb was always one of my favorite players. He's the one who in part got me to become a huge fan of the Eagles, so that's why I had to do this trade breakdown. And this trade saw Donovan McNabb, the quarterback, be traded to the Washington Redskins in exchange for a 2010 second round pick, which was the 37th overall selection in 2010, along with a 2011 conditional pick, either a third or fourth round pick. The condition was based on McNabb's playing time. So if he played a lot in 2010, the Eagles would get a third round pick. If he didn't play a lot, they would get a fourth round pick. So the 37th overall pick, the draft was a couple weeks after this trade. The 37th overall pick was used to select safety Nate Allen. So Nate Allen himself, he had a respectable 5 seasons in Philadelphia. He wasn't elite, and he wasn't necessarily worth a second round pick, but he did play through his rookie contract and get a 1-year extension after the fact. He was beaten a lot in coverage, but he still was a respectable player. He could make tackles, unlike a lot of Eagles players at that time. So then we get to the 2011 draft, and that 2011 conditional pick would become a 4th round pick as McNabb did not meet the criteria, and it was the 104th overall. So Philadelphia would trade the 104th overall pick to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in exchange for pick 116 and a 2012 4th round pick. So at 104, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would select tight end Luke Stocker. Now, Stocker himself, he was a good tight end for 6.5 seasons on the Buccaneers. Now, he never put up stats, but he was a very good blocking tight end and a key special teams contributor. He also suffered with injuries early on in his career for the Buccaneers, but he was a good player. And then at 116, the Eagles would select linebacker Casey Matthews. Yes, he is the younger brother of Packers, I don't want to say legend, but Packers legend Clay Matthews. He spent 4 years in Philadelphia, so he played out his rookie contract, and he had a brief stint in which he actually was a starter on the Eagles, but he was more of a special teamer than anything else. So then, in July of 2011, we actually see the Redskins trade quarterback Donovan McNabb to the Minnesota Vikings in exchange for a 2012 6th round pick and a conditional 6th round pick in 2013. Now, this condition was, of course, based on playing time, and basically, if McNabb didn't play enough, the Vikings just wouldn't give up a pick in 2013. So, all said and done for the Redskins, McNabb struggled over 13 games for the team before he was just benched. They said, you know what, we want to give our young guys a shot, so they benched McNabb after 13 games. Trading him to Minnesota was just kind of saying, okay, we don't want his contract anymore, because he had a big contract. At that point, they had signed him to a big extension, and if they had kept him for much longer, they would have had to pay him. So, in December of 2011, McNabb actually ends up getting released by the Vikings because he did not play well in Minnesota. He actually failed to be the leader that they had wanted him to be, and they had just drafted a rookie in the first round earlier that year, 2011, with Christian Ponder. So they went, you know what? We're going to put our rookie out there. We're going to see how he can do. And McNabb was not happy. He had led the team to a 1-5 start. So nobody was really happy, so they just let him walk. They just said, okay, goodbye. And that would actually be the last time he was on an NFL roster. He would retire right before the season in 2013, as no one had expected interest in him in 2012 or 2013 for that matter. He almost signed with the Bears in 2011, but things fell through. So yeah, Minnesota probably regrets the trade, but at the same time, it was worth a shot. Now we get to the 2012 NFL Draft. And Tampa's 2012 4th round pick would become the 99th overall, while Minnesota's 2012 6th round pick would become the 173rd. Now remember, Tampa's 4th goes to Philadelphia. Minnesota's 6th goes to Washington. I do have them color coded. So Philadelphia would trade that pick number 99 along with their third round pick, 76 overall, to the Houston Texans in exchange for linebacker D'Amico Ryans and the 88th overall selection. Now, it's heavily believed that the Eagles were sold on Russell Wilson. He was on the board, and he ends up going at 75. I just want to mention that because it is important. So with the 76th pick, the Houston Texans would select offensive guard Brandon Brooks. Brooks was a key piece on that offensive line, specifically as a starting guard for the last 3.5 seasons of a 4-year rookie contract before he walked and actually would join the Eagles. With the 88th selection, the Eagles would select quarterback Nick Foles. Again, people say it was a fallback option. People say the Eagles wanted Russell Wilson. And I have my notes next to me. I literally didn't write anything for Foles. I literally wrote, I'm not writing a single thing. You know what you got to say. So, Foles was a solid guy. He worked his way up the depth chart for the Eagles. And he ends up getting, a Pro Bowl invitation in 2013, Pro Bowl MVP, which was Chip Kelly's first year. And we all know he had his, at the time, record-breaking 27 touchdown, 2 interception season, which has since been broken by Tom Brady, who threw a 28-2 season. And after the 2014 season, he ends up getting traded to the, at the time, St. Louis Rams in exchange for Sam Bradford. That will be another video for another day. So I just want to mention that. And he does return to Philadelphia, as you all know, before the 2017 season for 2 years before walking again. At 99 overall, the Houston Texans would select center Ben Jones, and he would appear in all 64 games that he was able to play in for the Texans, and he started 43 of them. Now, he bounced around. He was a guard, he was a left guard, he was a right guard, and he was a center. It just depended on where they needed him. And he was a solid player. He ends up signing with the Tennessee Titans after his rookie contract was up. And then 173, the Washington Redskins would select running back Alfred Morris. Now, Morris himself was actually a workhorse for the Redskins early in his career. His first 3 years were just amazing for the team. He, like I said, he was a workhorse, but he just kind of I don't want to say they gave up on him, but they kind of gave up on him, and he kind of fell off a cliff a little bit after the Redskins let him walk. He would go to the Cowboys, and it just wasn't necessarily to be. Like, he's been in and out of the NFL 2016, 17, 18. He was on and off teams, and then last year he was signed by the Cowboys, cut before he played, signed with the Cardinals, played a game, and then was cut. So it is what it is with him. He's still a solid player, though. And then the last thing I mentioned here is the 2013 conditional 6th round pick doesn't get met because Minnesota didn't play McNabb enough. He only appeared in 6 games for the team and then was cut, so they didn't have to give up another 6th round pick. But yeah, that is the Donovan McNabb trade in its entirety, excluding the Sam Bradford Nick Foles swap, which will be another video. So basically, long story short, the Redskins acquired 1 year of Donovan McNabb and the draft rights to Alfred Morris, of which they kept him through his rookie year for 4 seasons, while the Eagles would acquire a pick that would become Nate Allen for 5 years, and a pick that they would trade into, and it would become, all said and done, linebacker D'Amico Ryans, who I completely omitted. D'Amico Ryans was actually a key player for the Eagles. He was a veteran leader on that team, and he was a very good player. He actually led the team in tackles for his first 2 years in Philadelphia before suffering an injury in his 3rd season on a play in which he actually picked off the quarterback. It was against his former team, the Houston Texans, and then he goes down, tears his Achilles, fumbles the ball. So it's one of those rare 2 turnovers in a single plays. And then he spent 1 more year in Philly and then was released. But so they turned that into Nate Allen, Casey Matthews for 4 years, which, whatever. 4 years of D'Amico Ryans. 3 years with Nick Foles. I'm not going to count stint 2. So, respectable stuff. The Texans would acquire a solid pair of interior offensive linemen with Brandon Brooks and Ben Jones, while Minnesota would acquire a subpar 6 starts from Donovan McNabb. So, all said and done, I mean, I would say the Texans win this trade because they got the best player in Brandon Brooks. But then again, it's such an interesting trade. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, unlike the football video, or unlike the baseball videos, I don't have a WAR stat to show you guys, but it's just interesting. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Have a good one.